I've been scammed out of 4 million pesos. Happily married with 2 kids, though. Some asked if she was a lesbian, but 2/3 of the expats said red flag, BS. Hey everybody, welcome to Philippines Expats Exposed. The Facebook groups in the Philippines, and there's about a dozen, some have up to 100,000 members. We read them for you. The most outrageous, the most outlandish. Chrissy, the most interesting.
And today, we are going to read some comments and I'm going to share some of my thoughts as a Filipina here in the Philippines.
Filipino. So, stay tuned to the end. We'll bring you the most outrageous Facebook comment. So today, let's start with the most interesting. One gentleman wrote in that he's been chatting with his Filipina for several years. They've grown quite close and they're ready to move in together. However, she insists that a family friend or relative, she has somebody in mind, move in with them. So she's ready to move in with him. He's ready to rent the apartment, but she needs to have a third person in the apartment.
Oh.
And he's asking the Philippine expat group with 40,000 members, is this a little unusual? Should he bail out or should he bear with it?
It depends. If it's temporary, I think it's okay. But is it temporary?
He doesn't really say. You know, there were over 100 responses. I read through them all. 2/3 of the expats said red flag, BS. If she's already comfortable enough to move in with you, why would she not be comfortable enough to live alone with you? So they recommended that he bail out. About 1/3 said she's heard a lot of horror stories about expats maybe drinking too much or maybe being too aggressive. Bear with her. Some people thought give her a week or two and then maybe shove off the third party. Some asked if she was a lesbian. But what do you think?
I think it's normal here in the Philippines. Like for the first month, the Filipino will really need someone that will stand as a chaperone, maybe because they are afraid that there is a bad thing that will happen to the Filipina if she will leave alone together with the expat.
Do you think it speaks to the maturity of the Filipino or lack of maturity?
It could be, but it could be also a safety measure of the family. Like they want someone that is a member of the family that will watch over their Filipina. Maybe they don't really trust that expat that is being with her.
But she's agreed to move in. So if it was me, Chrissy, I'd call bullshit. And I would say forget it. And you don't trust me enough to move in with me. You need a third person in the house. And that's going to get in the way of intimacy and the relationship. Now, if you said my friend wants to come for the first 2 nights.
Yes.
Help me travel, help me get settled in, report back to the family all as well. Okay, I could probably put up with that. Comment below, what would you do if your Filipina insisted on a third person living in the house? Next post is by Joris van Voren on Philippines Expats with 40,000 plus members. He writes, I just wish I had an expat friend I could talk openly to. And I honestly don't want to hear a bunch of people saying, you know, go back to your country if you don't like it here, and just, you know, a lot of rude comments. 153 responses. So let's share some of the comments that he got. One individual says, what are you looking for? I've been here for 15 years. I've been scammed out of 4 million pesos. Happily married with 2 kids, though.
Really?
French provider says he's been traveling the world for 50 years. And leave your biases at home. If you expect the country that you're in to adapt to you, you're gonna be disappointed.
Yes, that's true.
That's your motto.
Yeah, that's my motto. Like wherever you go in this world, you have to adapt to the environment.
Another Rob says, don't look here at this expat forum. You'll just get a lot of negative expats giving you bad advice. He doesn't think this is the right place to look.
I know, because it's social media and it's public. It is very open to everyone and you cannot select who are the people that are going to give suggestions and comments on your post. There will be both negative and positive and you will never ever know what to believe.
Freddie says, head to your local watering hole. That's where you'll find good help. John says, take a vacation first and see what it's like before you jump in the pool. He said, put your toe in before you jump in.
Yes, that's correct. You have to taste the food first before you buy a bunch of it.
Anthony says you need a lot of patience in the Philippines.
That's true. That's really true. Because even us Filipino, we're living here in the Philippines, but we still need patience. Especially when it comes to services.
Steve says, Chrissy, I'm from the U.S. I live in Davao City. Rent a nice 3-bedroom house in a nice subdivision. My total bills are about $700 a month. I could not rent a studio for under $800 a month in the U.S. So I live relatively comfortably in my house outside the subdivision. You see much poverty, but I'm retired here, and I would have to work until I'm dead if I lived in the U.S. So paradise for the rest of my life. That's his advice.
And do you agree with that?
I sort of agree. Albert writes, I just want to share some observations after living in Cebu City for the last 2 years. Regardless of the billions in Western aid and obligatory use of the English language, this is still a developing nation in tropical Asia. Laws are suggestions or guidelines until someone decides it needs to be arbitrarily enforced. Government agencies work at glacial speed for a number of reasons: habit, job security, lack of modernization, etc. Corruption is rampant. Given an opportunity to earn money, a Filipino will always say they can do whatever you are asking for, even if they have no idea what you're asking. Filipinos do not like confrontation. Try to be cool. Be assertive when you need to, but don't be a bully. A small token of appreciation goes a long way after you've established a relationship. Speak slowly, especially if you're a New Yorker. If you're here for a relationship, be selective, be respectful, date respectfully. This is an open-air meat market. In other words, don't be a douchebag. Realize you are a huge opportunity for a Filipino woman. In general, they will hold you in high regard and be grateful for what you provide. By the same token, you need to be honest with them and educate them about the real world. Well, that was kind of an interesting.
Yes,
what do you think of all those?
Just deny that I don't know how to do it, or I don't know where is that.
William Scott writes, should couples have access to each other's phones? I believe that I should have privacy on my phone to some point. William writes, I would be comfortable doing that with a girl I'm seeking now. Ted writes, if a person is that insecure they need to keep tabs on them, then that's not a relationship worth keeping. So he thinks you shouldn't have to share with her.
For me, it is okay if my significant other wants to have his privacy when it comes to social media and in his phone.
You know, a lot of comments here. Hey, you shouldn't have anything to hide. Doug writes, is Baguio or around that area a good place to live and possibly build a house? What are some of the pros and cons? Baguio, what is the summer residence of the presidents, and Manny Pacquiao lives there.
I heard some negative comments about Baguio. They said that all the pollution in Manila, in Metro Manila, are all going to Baguio. Yeah.
Let's see what the expats say. Prone to landslides during heavy rains, too congested with traffic, temperature is not as cool as years ago, everything is commercialized, prices have gone up, parking is horrible. Central area around Baguio is really overcrowded. If you can live with that, it's a good place. Myrick says you can try Tagaytay. We've never been there either. Farley says I spend at least 1 week every month or more or less in Baguio. It's a great place in my opinion. Bradley says only been there once, but it was super crowded. Definitely worth a visit though. David says I lived in Baguio back in the 80s where it rained almost every night and sometimes in the day as well. I eventually developed pneumonia and lost so much weight. The highlight was that some homosexual guy lived within hearing distance and he left non-stop. What does that have to do? The man's happiness was totally driving me crazy. So Chrissy, here's a photo from Expats in the Philippines, and the title is She. She says, you're the only guy I've been texting, and the photo has her in front of 25 iPads, texting 25 different people at a time. See, everyone's got an opinion. Till next time, from Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao.